Welcome back to another trade recap. So continuing off with my last session, right now up $4,000, 75% win rate, made 6% last month. If that was a prop challenge, would have passed it. February right now, only taken one trade so far, up 2%. We're gonna be going over this trade. Right now my goal is to again get the 6% for February, so that's about let's see, 2 4 6, so that's about 2 more trades, risking 1 to 2. My goal, I'm gonna try and go for some 1 to 3s. Makes me a little bit nervous. I think if the drawn liquidity allows it, I don't see why not. We'll see. Because my goal, I want to try and get a little bit higher than 6%, maybe like 11 or 12%. So that would be 2 1 to 3 trades, and then another 1 to 2, I believe. So that would be 3 6 7 8 9 10 11, right? Something like that. So if I can pull those numbers, then I can get it. That's assuming I don't have any losses. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit difficult. But we're gonna see how it goes. Right now, my trade frequency is pretty not bad. I would say 5 winning trades to 2 losing trades is like pretty good. Yeah, these are not bad numbers at all. And then 1 so far in February. Yeah, I don't know. Stats aren't looking too bad, I don't think. Let me just check something real quick. I'm kind of comparing my results to this other guy that has way better results than me. I think the highest he's ever done is, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 winning trades within a month, which is just insane. 2 losing trades, that's 23R in 1 month. Absolutely insane, absolute insanity. Yeah, my goal is to really get on that level, be able to make like 10%, 10% plus months. But you know what? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just try and get the 6% more consistently. Like I said in the last videos, I do like trading this way, but it's very, very nerve-wracking. As you'll see, this one actually, even though it's backtesting, I treat it as like real trading. It like, when I tell you, my heart was like beating, because I already had 2 losses in a row, and I didn't want to get another one, because I don't know, like backtesting is like seriously demoralizing when things are going your way, and then you just have a string of losses, man. So this one was a little bit complicated for me, but I eventually ended up arriving at the right drawn liquidity. So let's just go over. So area is very, very difficult. So I didn't take a lot of the trades in the beginning of February because we were in this area, and then we opened up February 1st to the downside, right? And then we went down again. I don't know, to be honest, these were really great days to trade. The only issue why I didn't trade these days is because I didn't know where price was going, realistically speaking, right? I did have a theory that it could be going to this low, but I think I think this day took it out already. So I was like, okay, I don't know if we're going to continue going lower. I just did not know where price wanted to go, realistically speaking. But in all honesty, though, if I was just going off of candle closures, I probably should have just been bearish. Why? Because we closed below this candle, we closed below this candle here, and then we closed below this candle here, right? So honestly, these would have been very great days to trade short. But yeah, I don't know. I still, it's a little bit weird in terms of determining bias. You can definitely use candle closures and phases of price to determine bias. I would say I'm definitely not bad at it, but I guess I can still get a little bit better in terms of reading what direction price wants to go. Now, how did I determine what price wanted to do here? So I don't think I traded Wednesday either. Now, why didn't I trade Wednesday? Because I was not sure what price wanted to do. We traded back within the range of this candle, right? So it would be safe to assume that we wanted to trade maybe bullish on this day, but I just wasn't sure. This is a really weird area for me. And I was just like, I couldn't get a good read on price, so I did not take a trade, which is not a bad approach. You don't want to take a trade when you cannot get a good read on price, especially now that I'm trading 2018 and we don't have that 1800 candle. I feel like I'm kind of handicapped in a way, you know what I mean? So I didn't take a trade this day and I didn't trade this day. But now, after taking a trade, no, after this day closed, we went back into this fair value gap, volume imbalance hybrid thing, and we closed back within the range. Now, that is very bearish, right? That is very bearish. But at the same time, I still wasn't sure. Like, are we going to continue going lower, right? So at that point, I'm leaning more towards bearish, I guess. But in all honesty, probably looking at this chart, I was probably still not really sure. So I went down to the 4 hour. What do I do on the 4 hour? I mark. You can't even see. Can't even see what's going on here. I wish there was a way to just hide individual. Let's just delete that for a second. Alright, so I marked out my 1400 candle, my 600 candle. Now, you're probably looking at this and you're like, what the hell am I looking at? Trust me, I was the same way. I was like, what the hell am I looking at? I don't know what price wants to do here. I don't see any SMTs. What are we doing? So honestly, the one thing that allowed me to get some real direction was looking at here, right? Because we traded upwards and then we were trading back into the range, and I realized that we had a C2 closure right here, particularly this candle in relation to this candle, right? So I was like, oh, we closed back within the range. If you go to the hourly, this looks like a PDA right here. So we tapped into the PDA, closed back within the range, right? Going up to the 4 hour, we close lower, retracement, and then I think if you go to the 1 hour, you can see, yeah. So I was basically treating this move here as a retracement. This is where we opened up roughly on the day. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is definitely looking like we're going bearish. Right now we're in a retracement stage and we want to see an expansion to the downside, right? Let's go back to the 4 hour and just look at that. This looks clearly like a retracement. This is, 4 hour C2, expansion lower, retracement. What else allowed me to believe that this was a retracement? On ES, we have this volume imbalance, fair value gap hybrid thing, traded into it, right? And then that's really it. Then going down to the 1 hour, what else do I have here? I'm looking at the highs, I'm looking at the lows, seeing if there's any SMTs in play. Coming into market open, we have an SMT right here at the highs. So I was like, oh, cool. This is if this closes, this will be a C2 closure. So, ideally I want to trade that 930 candle. So that 930 candle, the second half of that 9 o'clock candle. So basically I'm looking at, do we have a 30-minute model, right? So 30-minute model, let's see, we kind of do, right here, coming off of 830. But in particularly this 9 o'clock candle is a C2, right? So I can expect 930 to expand lower, right? So knowing that this is a C2 closure, we're in a retracement, we have an SMTs at the high, I can, with a high level of certainty now, say that price is going to expand to the downside. So I marked out the high and low of this candle, so I can see if we're respecting equilibrium and if we're going to continue lower, right? I want to move out of this pink area ideally, yes? So at that point, 930 open, so I jumped down. So when this candle closed, I jumped down immediately to the 1 minute to catch this 930 candle on its way down, right? So that's what I did there. And if you guys have watched my other videos, you know that I literally just manually count the candles and see if they make sense. Because if we want to go lower, we want to go higher first, right? So we want to open high, then low, right? So look, coming up on 930 is right here, right? So we opened high, right? We opened high first, and then we went low. So yeah, we had the open high, then low. What am I looking now to enter? Once I see that, what am I looking to enter? I'm looking for an inverse fair value gap. I'm looking for a break of structure to confirm the trend change. And that's what I get here. First break of structure technically happens here, but just want to be a little bit more sure. Second break of structure happens right here, but technically it's right here, right? Then I need a continuation confluence. What is my continuation confluence? My continuation confluence is a breaker block, a fair value gap, or an order block. We got a fair value gap on both assets, right? So then I want price to come back into this, and if we're going to continue lower, ideally I would like to see this fair value gap hold, right? Now, what validates this fair value gap holding, essentially? That means we need to close below an order block, right? So we close below it. Honestly, yeah, so here, we close it below on this candle. Now on ES, we close below this here. Technically, this would have been the early entry, but if you wanted to be 100% sure, you could have waited until a closure below the bodies of here, which would have been here. And quite frankly, this probably would have been my entry, but a better entry would have been right here. That would have been your tightest entry. But your more generous entry would have been the closure of this candle below the bodies here, right? So basically I just sent an entry. I took this trade on NASDAQ, not ES. I do think ES, if I was here, not gonna lie, this would have been made me so nervous, the edging here. So it really just depends on where you're entering the trade. I entered it on NASDAQ. Now, NASDAQ made me very nervous when I entered this trade because initially it did pull off, but then it pulled back, then down, then back, then down, then back, right? And it was like 3 times it came back up within my entry area, and that made me very, very nervous. I think once it went below my entry again, I was just like, yo, you either take me out of break even or you go to my draw, because you're not going to keep doing this. Like 3 times my heart was beating like crazy. And same thing on ES. It really just depends. It would have came back. Now, why did it come back, right? Why did it come back? Why didn't it not go straight to the draw? It would have been a lot more efficient for it to just go straight to the draw, but why did it come back, right? We always like to know why. Why does the market do what it does? Well, if you anchor a fib from low to high of here, came into contact with standard deviation here, almost at 2 standard deviation, but it missed it, right? Comes back up. It could also be that we also took out a relevant low, which is right here. So right here too, we come back up, we teeter-totter, 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 which is crazy, by the way. And also, why did it come back up? That last 10 minutes of that 950 candle, the 10 o'clock or the 9 o'clock macro, right? So that was also what also fueled this move higher. And then why did this, then it started to come back down. Then why did it go higher again? The 10 o'clock open high, right? Open high, and then lower. Open high, what is it? Open high, low, close, right? So many things in play here, why we had a lot of this teeter-tottering. The 10 o'clock open, we ran into this low. We also took first standard deviation. Yeah, so a lot of things. Same thing here. You can see the fib. But isn't it interesting how this fib aligns perfectly with our drawn liquidity right there? Beautiful. So yeah, I really didn't like the fact that this just came back so deep. I hate deep retracements. But as you can see, the idea was that I was hoping for that 930 candle to be an expansion candle to the downside. My bias was correct, so therefore it expanded to the downside, right? And then that 10 o'clock candle also expanded to the downside, so that 930 macro, that not macro, but the 930 candle expanded, and then subsequently the 10 o'clock and 10:30 candle expanded to the downside. So that is lucky for us, and it didn't actually hit the target until 10:49. Yes. Now for us, our target wasn't hit until 10:38. So if you had entered this on NASDAQ, you would have gotten out earlier. You would have had to have waited a little bit longer for ES. But getting in at roughly 9:45 and then waiting about an hour for a trade to complete is not too bad. Yeah, oh God, that really made me nervous. And quite frankly, I guess you don't have to be nervous, because if the trade is going to go and expand in the direction that you expect, the trade should work out. Again, the only time that a trade like this wouldn't work out is if you get the direction incorrect, right? Or there's some news, or yeah, I'm not too sure here. Or price decide to go in the opposite direction at some point for whatever reason, right? I do think this was my best possible entry for this. Yeah, for E and NASDAQ, this was the best possible entry. The better entry for ES probably would have been here. And quite frankly, stop probably above this body, not really so much the fair value gap itself. So this would have been like the best entry for ES, but safer entry would have been this here. So yeah, which would have, you know, if you just want to R, then this would have been definitely the better entry. If you wanted to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more living on the dangerous side, then I guess you could have entered here. But I just didn't want to enter here because this can always come back on us. You know what I mean? I want like 100% sure that this is going lower, and that gave me that. And you can see we come back, we trade lower a little bit. Oh, why is this doing that? We come back into the fair value gap, respect it, go lower, right? So that's what I want to see. PD arrays being respected. So yeah, this trade just made me a little bit nervous because of the edging and the constant return to my entry area. 3 times, in fact. So yeah. Made me rather nervous. Why did it make me nervous? The edging and the fact that I'd already taken 2 losses in the subsequent month. Really did not want to take a 3rd loss in a row, if I'm being honest. But yeah. With that being said, if you have any comments or have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, hopefully with good news. With that being said, peace. Peace.